Hello and welcome to Boomer Live once again, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are in the Boomer Live to talk about New Zealand versus England, the first match of the World Cup, and what a game of cricket that was. You can say that was possibly one of the best games of cricket to start out with for the New Zealand team. Most clinical performance, winning the game by 9 wickets and without dropping a sweat, as one can say so. Rachin Ravindra, the name which already getting all the rounds across the world, scoring the fastest 100 by a New Zealander. The fastest was held by Devon Conway 5 overs earlier, but he broke that 5 overs later. But after that, Devon Conway scoring 150. Let's be very honest, we did expect them to start firing, but not this big. New Zealand in ICC tournaments and in the opening games, they are scary. And what a statement they've sent it out. But before that, remember, guys, to check out our feature on Boomer 11. If you are new here, do not forget we are running our premium contest with Boomer 11. This is your opportunity to check out our all new features with Boomer 11. It's free to play app. Remember that, and also check out our premium contest with Boomer 11. As I display this on the screen, remember Boomer 11 is a free to play platform, and also you can check out our premium contest with Boomer 11 and predict our contest as well. There's an opportunity to get on the app right now on Google Play Store and Apple App Store. The link is down in the description, so you can check it out, play all the contests. Remember, if you haven't already played today's contest, check out tomorrow's game, which is Netherlands versus Pakistan, a big contest on the hands. And also, do not forget to check out the big one as well, which is India Australia, which is on Sunday. So we are nearing towards that. But without further ado, let's get into this game, which is the New Zealand versus England game. Jen, what did you make of this? It was such a big game for them, and they just sent out the biggest statement saying that we are not a pushover in this World Cup.
Yeah, and you rightly mentioned New Zealand love starting big in World Cup, especially in India. I remember 2016 World Cup, they opened their tally by defeating India, the
Yeah.
favorites, and they once again beaten England here, who are definitely one of the favorites out, and they've just made them look like little kids at the playground, especially in the second innings. Now, one thing's for sure, the new ball is going to be very important when it comes to bowling in the second half of the innings, because we saw that the initiative really got away from England when Chris Vokes was not able to support what Sam Curran was doing. Sam Curran was bowling beautifully. He was getting the ball to tail in. He was getting the ball to move away. Devon Conway looked all at sea, and I think Nasir Hussain just beautifully kept it right. Where he said it just seems like Sam Curran is bowling really well, and on the other end, Chris Vokes is just giving throwdowns because he was bowling those driving lengths, those the kind of length that initially you would say Devon Conway and then Rachin Ravindra both feasted on, and whatever Sam Curran was doing from the other end didn't really matter, especially because it's a one-day game. You can really spare 60 ball. You can really spare 60 balls and capitalize on the other 240, especially when you're only chasing down 283. And we all knew the second half it's going to be easier to bat, but you can't take away credit from the pair, the Rachin Ravindra and Devon Conway, because they just ended the game long before that period would come where something like a due factor would come in, because you were supposed to come in close to 8:45 9, but the game was over before it.
Bro, Rachin, I wasn't familiar with the game. I think I already sent what his game is against the Pakistan team. He missed out on a warm up 100, but he was just saving it for the 100 in a World Cup opening
Yeah.
game. I mean, what better? It's like scoring your first goal in the World Cup, just like that, He just waited for it and he just delivered when the moment mattered. I mean, that's what Rachin Ravindra has been. I mean, if you look at how he started off his career and to where he is right now, we will get into a story. But before that, let's talk about New Zealand's bowling as well, from where we'll talk about. I mean, batting, everything what they did was to restrict them to 282, which is a below par total in this wicket. Sandner, Matt Hendry, the starts they got Glenn Phillips with the ball as well, with a couple of wickets here and there. But you have to say this looks like a complete team was out punching once again.
Oh, absolutely. We spoke about them yesterday as well. We told how New Zealand haven't really had that much of success going into the tournament, but as they really checked off the death bowling, right?
Yeah.
We spoke about yesterday how they have struggled with the death bowling, and they do not have, remember, the likes of Tim Southee, someone who's experienced, someone who I thought, I still believe can do a very good job in the death in these kind of conditions, but they didn't need him, and they kind of played with what Sandipani said yesterday in the live. They went with Mitch Sandner, they went with Glenn Phillips, and they got the results. They got English batters, gave it, and boy did they take the bait, and things just went right for the likes of New Zealand team.
Yeah.
Everything that Tom Latham pulled out of his hat today was just another magic trick.
Absolutely. And I mean, I personally think as well, especially when you talk about this particular New Zealand team, as to what they can do on the given day. We saw that in the last couple of World Cups, wherever they played, You talk about the World Cup they played in India 2016 or the World Cup they played in UAE. They always tend to come into this tournament well prepared and top notch field sets using resources so well. I mean, yes, his captaincy was really, really impressive. You talk about that captaincy from Tom Latham, especially in terms of setting the field, that was outstanding. And to add to all this, let's talk about the way in which he marshaled his resources, bringing Matt Henry when it mattered, using Sandner through the middle overs, not shying away from using someone like Glenn Phillips when Moeen Ali came to bat, and he did not even had to bring in someone like a Darren Mitchell throughout the game. And
Yeah.
Rachin Ravindra, yeah, I mean, that was interesting play as well to use Rachin Ravindra for 10 overs. I know he was that bit expensive. I think that's where he just faltered. Maybe should have used Glenn Phillips a lot more, but understandable because Joe Root and Josh Butler was batting. They thought he could have a good day, but you saw with Rachin Ravindra, he was all over the place. That Harry Brooks wicket, I thought that was a biggest gift Rachin Ravindra should have gotten, and I think that's what really showed it was his day.
Yeah.
If you can get hit for two fours and a six, and again ball a half tracker and get a wicket there, that really symbolizes what your day is going to be like, and he really made the most out of it and being the man of the match ultimately as well. What a game! Rachin is like Yuvraj Singh. I mean, that's a big statement to make it, but certainly on a similar pedestrian in terms of left arm spinner, left hand bat, scoring runs in World Cups and picking up wickets. So that's a similar pedestrian, I would say. So Sandner proving why he's one of the elite spinners in this generation. Definitely in the white ball format, elite and so underrated.
Oh yeah, I mean, we spoke about Sandner as well. He was not having. I mean, that's the thing about the New Zealand team, right? The moment you put them in an ICC tournament, everyone who's not been performing well, everyone who's been out of form, everyone who has doubts on their performances suddenly start shining. Even Mitch Sandner, as we spoke about it yesterday as well, we were a bit worried if he'll be able to get those wickets in the middle overs. But boy, did he be wrong. I mean, we did say that it's going to get a lot better playing in India, and it was a pitch which was tailor made for for someone like Mitch Sandner, where the faster you ball, the more you get grip on the pitch, the more
Yeah.
turn you get. But that's not all he did, right? He was not one dimensional. He made sure he had changes of pace. He made sure that the batters were kept on their feet, and England batters could never really line him up. That's something that was his issue when he was playing in New Zealand. But I think when it comes to India, you've seen him do this time and time again. You've seen him do this in the IPL as well. And I have to say that I genuinely was wrong to be worried.
Absolutely. To be very fair, if you look at the way in which how this team has really shaped up over the last few years as well, you wouldn't really pick up a player and say, "Oh wow, they've done exceedingly well." Maybe except for Darren Mitchell, who's at a phenomenal 2023 by scoring 600 odd runs. But then if you look at the whole all-round setup of this team, Matt Henry, Trent Bolt, they hadn't played a lot of cricket leading into this World Cup as well.
Yeah.
Despite of all that, to come into this World Cup in the opening game and to put up a performance like that, that really shows that they are the team for the big occasions and they are the team who would pounce on these big occasions and they really showed the world how what they can do in these kind of occasions, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we said about this yesterday as well, right? We spoke about how New Zealand does not have an X factor in them. They
Yeah.
are an X factor because of their team spirit, because of the way everyone contributes to the end goal, that is a win. In fact, you won't see New Zealand usually, coast to a victory with two centuries. That's a
Yeah.
very rare. That's a very rare thing for them. But it also shows that they've got players who've got the potential to take the match by the scruff of the neck. And one thing for sure, I think obviously the match was won in that first innings itself,
Yeah.
where 283 was subpar on this pitch. You had to get 300 plus, especially considering the fact that it was going to get slightly better to bat. And the dew did not come in, by the way, for a long time. I think it
Yeah.
came in towards the end. I think it came in post the 30 overs where they ended up scoring 76 odd runs in just 6 overs.
I mean, the pitch was turning. If you look at the way
Even
which
when
Adil
the pitch
Rashid
was turning, yeah.
Moeen Ali was getting turned, Adil
Yeah.
Rashid was getting good turn off the rough, outside the left-handers off stump, and the way in which these two played spin, right? I mean, if you have to talk about the way in which how Rachin Ravindra and Devon Conway played spin, and the way in which they took down Mark Wood, who was that ace bowler.
Yeah.
I mean, for the first 2 overs, going for 30 odd, and then from there on setting that tone, right? And to take on Adil Rashid, who was their two main trump cards. One was Mark Wood and Adil Rashid through the middle overs. To take down their two primary bowlers, that's why you send out a statement by saying, okay, wait a minute, We are in for this battle totally, and we're not going to step away from it.
Well, I mean, in hindsight, you would say that probably Moeen Ali and Adil Rashid ball really well compared to what you're seeing with the Pacers, because and Liam Livingston combined as well. Because Sam Curran, by the way, had a maiden, had a couple of maidens, one of which was a wicket maiden in the first over, and then he traveled for 47 runs in the next 4 overs, able, and he did not
Yeah,
take
and
any
which was
other
a
wicket.
20 run over in the last over as well.
Yes, absolutely.
So
So he was hammered, but I genuinely still think, England had a slight bit of head start. This World Cup, it's going to be very important to make sure that you pick up wickets early on in the power play, that you don't allow the opposition to get, that
yeah,
certain, not even forget strategic, strategic advantage. You can't even allow parity before the end of the power play, because it's going to get a lot worse as India heads towards that winter season. It's going to get colder, and the colder it gets, because in India, if those of you are not from India, you would probably, I mean, it's probably important to know that Indian winters are not like, you would see winters in other places. Indian winters, the summer never goes away. It's just the nights are colder. So,
yeah,
which means the difference in temperature is so high that you will see a lot more dew formation, because the ground cools down a lot quicker, which means the dew formation is a lot more. It's going to be a lot more. The concentration is going to be a lot more. Today we
yeah.
didn't see it as much, which means, but that's not how it's going to be on other grounds, because I think today probably being a plain area as well is the reason why you didn't see a lot of dew. But if you have a Dharamsala or any of those areas, you need the new ball to make sure that you make the new ball talk. And that's where I'm so disappointed in Chris Vokes. He had the first over, it did not go well, and you knew the mistakes he was making. His ball pitching the ball way too full, especially for someone like Chris Vokes, who isn't exactly someone who swings the ball as much as a Sam Curran does. He's someone who really operates
Yeah,
off the good length delivery, and that's why I told Label, right? I told you where I genuinely thought that Chris Vokes could be a threat because of what Matt Henry did in the first innings.
yeah,
Matt Henry did a very good job by bowling that, bowling good length deliveries. But Chris Vokes bowling it way too full, getting a little too greedy, allowed someone like Devin Conway and Rachin Ravindra to get settled.
absolutely.
Even if Sam Curran was bowling well on the other end, it didn't really
Hmm.
matter because Chris Vokes was giving runs to both of them.
Absolutely. For me, it just goes back to show what this team can all do, especially when it comes to these big occasions. I think the word which comes into my mind is annihilation today, more than anything else. Absolute destruction in terms of what they showed to the defending champions. If you have to talk about a grudge match from the World Cup final, there's no better than this.
Oh
This
yeah.
was a revenge and a half, but not the barest of margins, by the greatest of margins. Now, that is where the whole circle completes. And talking back to which, I'll talk about Rachin Ravindra. Very interesting story of Rachin Ravindra, a boy from our roots from Bangalore. His father's cricket club, which he used to play, used to send him to Bangalore every summer vacation to play spin in India well. And he made his debut in India last year in a test match. But from there on, just talking about 2021, where he made his debut in India, he was watching the World Cup final sitting in a bar in Bangalore, seeing how New Zealand lost by the barest of margins. Here he is, 4 years down the line, scoring 100 against England. And that's how it has been. He's been in India for the longest period of time. Every year visiting India, his dad just wanted him to improve the game against spin. You saw him save that test match in Kanpur for New Zealand. You saw there's something about him.
Yeah.
From there on, nobody expected him even to start in this World Cup. But that warm game against Pakistan to here, I mean, credit to his dad, his
I,
coaches, and from there to be here in
yeah.
this position, I think Rachin Ravindra has come a long way, and I think he's going to be a household name at the end of the World Cup, as someone rightly mentioned, like Yuvraj Singh. If New Zealand goes on to win the World Cup, and if he's going to play a factor, I mean, we're going to remember Rachin Ravindra just like Yuvraj of 2011.
I mean, he probably will have to do a lot more than what Yuvraj did, because Yuvraj came a little lower down the order. I'm not saying Yuvraj didn't do enough, and that's not at all what I'm saying. Yuvraj did a lot more than this lad has done yet in his career. But the thing about him is, right, I think he is a top order bat out and out. That's what New Zealand will want him to be. They will
Yeah,
want him to score, at least three more hundreds, and one of them coming in a knockout game if New Zealand has to go forward, and hope that he gets a wicket every other game, because his bowling is obviously a bonus, and we've seen it
mm,
that he's no Yuvraj Singh with the ball, but he definitely can, command the bat, and that's something that we saw today. But I'll tell you what, Abel, now that you mention, if you look at his background, he looks like the least New Zealand player of all of this whole squad. I think it was just one delivery that Chris Wokes balled him, and he came round the wicket in that
Yeah,
second over that he balled, and he balled him on the pads, and that flick. I think I've
yeah,
seen that. That's the most Asian flick I've seen in a
yeah,
long time. It was wristy. He got it through the mid-on region, mid-on mid-wicket region. He just was just caressing the delivery. And my favorite part about it was how, the next ball he balls a short delivery and he smashes it. Like he smashes the nuts and bolts out of it. So this lad has got gears about him, and that's
yeah,
something that you see in good players, right? He's It's not like he's going to play one dimensional. He can go beyond what a bowler would be expecting. I
yeah.
think someone like Chris Woke would have expected to surprise Rachin Ravindra with that short ball,
Mm-hmm.
but he was waiting. He was
Yeah,
waiting.
he was. I mean, you can still say Rachin Ravindra really prefers leg side, and maybe he might be found out
Yeah.
through the course of the tournament how he is a more leg side dominant player, and you don't ball to Rachin Ravindra's pads, or you don't ball anywhere close to Rachin Ravindra's body because he loves to feast on it. And also talking about which his game down the ground against spin or slog sweeps are pretty impressive as well. His game against spin is a highlight for me more than his game against pace. In the Pakistan warm-up game, you saw how he loves stroking the ball. He enjoys pace on the ball. That's what you saw against Mark Wood as well today,
Yeah.
taking on Mark Wood. But against Adil Rashid, against Moeen Ali, the way in which he was so composed, the way in which he attacked them when it mattered the most, it was silent attack, which you didn't even realize. He used to hit a six, and you didn't even know there were 10 runs of that over scored already. So that is what really impressed me of Rachin Ravindra, the player. But talking about which, I also wonder now what is next for the English team. Now, if you talk, they were the heavy favorites coming into this game, and New Zealand just defeated them without their main players. There was no Tim South, there was no Kane Williamson in this team. Despite of that, they just went on a roll over them. I think Rachin Ravindra is a sure starter from here on. There was no doubt
Yeah.
about it, 100%. And now, if you have to focus on the English team, I personally thought New Zealand were very disciplined. You have to just give credit to New Zealand. Can't really blame England team. You can't really pinpoint, oh wow, they did not do this right. Oh well, they did not do that right. And you just have to say, oh, wow, New Zealand were the better team today. That's what the cricket tournament the match was. Maybe if you want to really scrutinize, I really thought the top order did not really click today. Johnny Bairstow was looking good. David Malan falling early. Joe Root was good, but they wanted their openers to fire, which was their biggest strength in the tournament. And also adding to the fact that Harry Brook playing very, very irrational and not responsible at all. So that really costed them to lose 2 to 3 wickets very early on. And then from there, it was a climb up, and Josh Butler and Joe Root tried their best, but it wasn't good enough.
Oh yeah, I think we spoke about this yesterday as well, right? It's the middle order that is really going to concern them. I still believe, probably Ben Stokes coming back. If he does, that is obviously because we don't know about his injury yet, how severe it is. But they would really hope he comes back because he's someone who can give them that back. I think, Ben Stokes of 2019 was obviously valuable because he could provide with the bat and the ball. But the
Yeah.
Ben Stokes of 2023 is still equally important. Even though he won't ball, he's in this World Cup as a batter. That's pretty
Hmm.
much clear because of his chronic knee injury. One thing's for sure, he's still needed in that middle order because the kind of shot that we saw Harry Brook play today
Yeah.
is something that England has succumbed to time and time again. We've seen this
Yeah.
happen to England. It's the live by the sword, die by the sword mentality that they
Yeah.
have. But that's where someone like Ben Stokes is special. He's still someone who is temperamental. I know you don't say that about Ben Stokes a lot. You probably imagine him smashing Australian bowlers at Headingley or smashing New Zealand bowlers at in that final. But then you imagine he has got another gear as well. He can hold his own. And in this situation, I think they really, really missed the head of Ben Stokes. I still believe Ben Stokes was the one who came in with Joe Root at that point in time. This could have reached a 315, 320 score still, a 330 score at least, and probably you would have seen a slightly, less stinging loss for them.
Absolutely. I mean, I agree with you totally on that because if at all, if this England team has to go on to do well from here on, I mean, they will definitely. I don't think this doesn't define anything about English cricket, or this is just
Yeah.
one of those aberrations we can say. So, and it's good to get this loss straight up in the tournament. It's a wake up call. We've seen that with some of the championship winning teams over the years. To have a loss for our first up is going to really wake you up. Okay, we've had a loss and we've had a bad one. Now we have to really wake up and smell the coffee. So that's what we really want to do.
That's your favorite line, isn't it?
Yeah, that's my favorite line. I use it to my friends all the time. So New Zealand 4 straight wins was confirmed. Fifth is against India. Won't be surprised if they make it 5-5. I don't think that's happening, man. Let's just turn it
Whoa,
around.
whoa, whoa.
5 wins in a row. Wow. I mean, from there on, you are a sure semi-finalist. You get five in a five.
Yeah, yeah,
I think they play Netherlands next. They start as favorites for sure there.
yeah.
And I think they play Sri Lanka after that. Then they play
Bangladesh. I think
Afghanistan.
they play Bangladesh
They
after that,
Bangladesh
then
after
Sri
that.
Lanka.
I think that Bangladesh and Sri Lanka and Wankhede. Where are they playing them?
Um,
I think Bangladesh is one of the games.
Bangladesh are playing in Chennai, which is going to be interesting
Okay.
because that's going to be a pitch
Okay, that's not gonna
where
be easy.
Bangladesh would
That's not gonna be easy.
and
That's not gonna be easy.
then I think again they're playing Afghanistan and Chennai as well. So not going to be as easy as it seems, you know. But I think it'll get a lot better if they chase if they chase the target,
Uh-huh.
because it might get a little bit more due, especially in a place like Chennai.
Uh,
So that might factor in. But other than that, it might not be as easy as it looks because
yeah.
English spinners a lot disappointed them because I think they did ball well. Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the Pacers, they went at 11,
Yeah.
7.5 plus runs per
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
But what England wanted was wickets from their spinners, and that's
Mhm.
what they didn't get. We spoke about this yesterday as well. That's what I felt Moeen Ali, was someone who they really heavily relied on
Yeah.
because Adil Rashid has really not been a wicket taking threat in India. We've seen that in the IPL, we've
Yeah.
seen that in the India England series where England comes home.
Uh-huh.
That's the one issue where Moeen Ali, failing with both the bat and the ball really hurt them.
Yeah. I mean, you can't really blame it on Moeen Ali. It's all.
I'm not blaming it.
I mean, you can't really
But yeah.
pinpoint anyone. I mean, today it was
Yeah.
just a whole havoc which was wreaked by New Zealand, and what a way for them to start off their campaign. I mean, I think the Bangladesh game is very interesting, as you mentioned. And from there on, India game, that's where the ice will be on. I think it's on 19th, if I'm not
It's
wrong.
happening in Dharamsala.
It's
Yeah,
happening in
yeah.
Dharamshala. But it all depends on different things as well in Dharamshala. I want to see how the day after tomorrow's game in Dharamshala is going to be played. Afghanistan versus Bangladesh. I know it's not the greatest opposition to play in Dharamshala. That's not both of their strengths.
But
Yeah.
I still believe in that case, you would probably say that Afghanistan slightly has an upper edge because if it is a flat Dharamsala wicket,
Oh, yeah.
then someone like Ramanullah Gurbaz will really enjoy batting there, and they have some batters who like to line up the ball.
Yeah, 100%. There's Duke coming in. I think the team's
Yeah.
batting. Teams will like to chase in that wicket, and also would want to preserve the wicket in the power play. I think they can go berserk in the last 40
Yeah.
overs because of the flatness of the surface and the ball travels. It's in a high altitude. The ball is going to travel like crazy, and we've seen it. In the T20 games, what have been played there. I don't. It's been a long time since the one-day game has been played in Dharamshala, so going to be interesting to see how it's going to be played out because 2017 was the last one. That was a shortened game where Sri Lanka got India all for 120 odd. We were 29 for 7. But from there on, from whatever we saw in that game, if it's a cool morning in Dharamshala and it's a day game, early morning start. Oh yeah, Afghanistan versus Bangladesh is the early morning start, 9:30 start.
I think
So I think teams will definitely want to ball first in Dharamshala. There's no two ways about it, and there's no dew in that game as well. So very different to what we can expect in Dharamshala and other games. But early morning start, cold morning,
It's a 10:30 start.
10:30 start, 9:30 start. Okay, whatever. It's gonna be cold. It's gonna be easier, and you're gonna see a lot of nip around in the morning. So I think that's where I think we're gonna be interested. I don't know why we are talking about that game already, but from whatever we've spoken here, we'll be joining back soon. As soon as possible to talk about tomorrow's game and a little bit of today's game as well, with Sandeep Bani on board as well. So thank you for joining right now. Before you leave, do not forget to check out our app once again. Boomer 11. This is where you can play predictor contests and also the premium contest. Do check out our shop where you can buy and purchase your goods and enter into premium contests with the points. And also check out our predictor feature because you can predict what's going to happen in tomorrow's game, especially the number of runs, number of wickets, and also number of sixes which can be hit. And if you are really smart enough, you can be in a chance to win some big prizes. And also to add to that, check out our premium contest because that's where you win some big prizes. Do not forget to check that out. You can maybe get some premium points in by checking out our shop and enter into this contest. The link is down in the description. Check it on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. And do not forget, with Boomer 11, we are going to be here throughout the World Cup. So this is your opportunity. Check this out. Throughout the World Cup, we'll be here talking about all the games, 45 games. We'll be here and talking about before the game, after the game, and for the next game, we'll be giving the fantasy predictions as well.
Yeah.
So that's where we are going to be helping you all throughout this Boomer 11 World Cup. So have a good time, all of you. See you all very soon. Bye bye.
Bye bye, guys.